Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Really, imagine. Let's imagine. Let's envision what that would require and what that would look like. Imagine all the people living for today. What does that mean? What does that imply? Living for today. Being in the moment. Being fully present. Not living in the past. Not living in the future. Living for today. How does one do that? By being present, by being aware. How does one create a sense of greater awareness? How does one bring that about? By limiting distractions? What does that look like? Maybe setting aside a certain amount of time each day to be without the phone or without a computer. Maybe setting aside a certain amount of time each day to be in solitude, to be in silence, to be in stillness. Okay, so imagine all the people living for today. So that would be a world full of people who are making an effort, a concerted effort to be present. Okay. I could do that. How about you? Okay, I'm gonna do that today. Imagine all the people, just imagine all the people living life in peace. What does that look like? All the people, all the individuals living life in peace. I feel peace when I feel acceptance. I feel peace when I feel love, when I feel loved. I used to not love myself. I used to not accept myself fully. And so I would often find myself surrounded by people who triggered those feelings within me. And I would think that they were the problem. But what I realized is what was going on was that I was surrounding myself with people who reminded me of those aspects of myself which I had shunned and denied and judged and relegated to some dark aspects of my unconscious mind. And because we are always seeking to find peace, to find wholeness, to find love, we are drawing the people and experiences into our life, which present us with the opportunities to break unhealthy patterns and to become more self-aware. In other words, I kept drawing people into my world, it would give me an opportunity to embrace those aspects of myself which I had shunned, so that in doing so, I could become an integrated, whole individual who felt at peace. That's how we create a world of peace. By being a world full of individuals who love themselves. You can only love another when you love yourself. And you can only love yourself when you embrace and integrate all aspects of yourself. No one else can do that for you. And until you do that, you'll keep being presented with scenarios which instill and elicit feelings of disharmony and problems and chaos and drama, and that's the world we live in. Is a world full of people who don't love themselves, and so they're not at peace within themselves, and so the world's not at peace. And doing that work is scary and it's hard, and so we distract ourselves. Just like when there's some kind of work you don't want to do, you don't want to do your taxes, so you find a way to distract yourself from that. We don't want to integrate the psyche, so we find a way to distract ourselves from that. We watch Netflix, or we scroll on Facebook or Instagram. Anything to distract ourselves from that hard work. But the consequences of that is living in a world where there is not peace and there is not presence, because we're not at peace and we're not present. It's not just enough to imagine a world of peace and imagine a world full of people who are present. We have to imagine it, and then we have to take the steps to create it. Rest and activity are the steps of progress. The rest is the envisioning, the quieting of the mind, the holding of what it is that we want to see and experience. We want to see peace. We want to see a world full of people living for today. Okay, now we hold that vision and we let it inform the actions we take. Kindness towards oneself. Patience with oneself allows you to be kind to others and patient with others. And then that gets the ball rolling, and then we pay it forward, and we create a sympathetic vibration, a frequency of 528 hertz, love, harmony, a world full of people living for today, a world full of people living life